Peyton Stelling,
Justice Duque,
Riley McBride,
Madeline Murphy,
Ava Dodds,
Lola Wisenhunt.
Picture this. You are a teacher and your students inform you that they have never heard of things like racism or events like the Holocaust. You are understandably concerned, and you explain that these events have been prevalent in history for years and they shaped our world into what it is today. They tell you that they've never been exposed to these things and have been sheltered from controversy to protect them from unconventional subjects. Banning books can cause history to repeat, and without these controversial pieces of literature, we run into many societal problems. My purpose is to persuade you that banning books decreases the knowledge of historical and current events and can set back society decades. My credibility comes from my long-term appreciation of literature and my place in the public school system, growing up being taught that we learn about history to prevent it from occurring again. I will be using evidence to show that banning books will affect society's ability to handle situations, prevent detrimental events from repeating, our knowledge of affairs and current and past events, and why banning literature plays a large role in today's society. For my first point, let's discuss how banning books affects the handling of difficult situations. Vera Eidelman, staff attorney at the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project, says that a society in which book banning is acceptable is no longer a free society. It is instead one in which the government tells people what books to read and therefore what ideas to encounter and ultimately what to think. It weakens education and prevents people from learning to think for themselves. She says that this is already happening, and we are already seeing this in the public school systems. For example, in North Dakota, schools are prohibited from even discussing race issues, which eliminates students' ability to form opinions for themselves. And whenever people are taught to think that only one way is right, they will naturally eliminate any way that they think is wrong. In the real world, kids will not know how to address things like racism if they are shut down every time they try to express an opinion about them. In high school, students share how banning books affect their lives by Aurora Dominguez. High school sophomore Cameron says, "Some of the greatest lessons I've learned from books is that every single person has a different perspective. It is better to be patient and empathetic to everyone because you have no idea how they interpret a situation or event. No one way of looking at a situation is wrong." This shows that books open students' worlds to a whole new view of the world, and without that, they will be clueless and bound to the meaning of right or wrong. Without expression, students have no gray area with their perspective on things and will have less of a preparation for handling real-life situations. We have seen this phenomenon before, and when society participates in censorship, does history repeat itself? From 2021 to 2022, the number of books banned multiplied by 4 from 2020 to 2021, with 1,651 targeted and 681 attempts. This comes from Janik Lidner at the Jitnux Market Data Report 2024. In the Holocaust, 25,000 volumes of un-German books were burned because of the Nazi ideologies. This comes from the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. So, we are ignoring events and affairs. So what does this mean for the country's intelligence? Sagi George, high school librarian and author of Silence, Voices, and Ripples of Book Bans, says when certain books are banned or discouraged, it often leads to a narrowing of the curriculum. This limitation, in turn, restricts students' exposure to a diverse array of ideas and perspectives. A balanced and comprehensive education should encompass a wide range of voices and viewpoints, enabling students to develop a nuanced understanding of the world. My friend, a college student, said that if we had been sheltered all of our lives, there would be a bunch of clones everywhere. And the true beauty of society is that we all have different perspectives and viewpoints on the world. Half of our education, he says, comes from exposure to these themes in controversial subjects, like having social skills in a school setting, whereas only children are sheltered from a lot of things and don't have as many social skills as people that have siblings. By banning books, he says, we are getting less of a rounded education. Literature is an educational and societal tool. Do teachers have the ability to provide a well-versed education without this literature? Psychogers also says, one of the most immediate and tangible impacts of book bans on schools is the diminished quality of education. Literature has long been recognized as a powerful teaching tool, offering students the opportunity to engage with complex themes, diverse perspectives, and profound ideas. When certain books are banned or restricted, educators lose valuable resources for fostering critical thinking and analytical skills among their students. Literature can even reflect the author's experiences, time period, and beliefs. The Great Gatsby, for example, it was in part a statement of Fitzgerald's views of the world in the 1920s. So, in conclusion, I hope that this evidence that discusses our society's inability to handle controversy, the prevention of the repetition of historical events, the knowledge of literature in events, and the role of literature in society persuades you that banning books harms society's overall intelligence and knowledge of information. Students deserve a curriculum that shows the right and wrong parts of society, and they deserve to be able to form their own viewpoints on things.